But first, as President Trump pushes states to restart their economies, new scientific models are projecting sharp increases in the number of deaths from coronavirus over the next few weeks and months. One projection is from an internal Trump administration document obtained by the New York Times. The other is from a public University of Washington model often cited by the White House. First, the government projections, which show the daily death toll will nearly double from about 1,750 deaths currently to about 3,000 a day on June 1st. This is pretty dramatically different than where people were thinking. New cases are projected to go from about 25,000 a day to 200,000. The president was asked about the report in an interview with the New York Post. He said, quote, "I know nothing about it. I don't know anything about it. Nobody told me that. I think it's false. I think it's fake news." The White House put out the following statement. This is not a White House document, nor has it been presented to the coronavirus task force or gone through interagency vetting. This data is not reflective of any of the modeling done by the task force or data that the task force has analyzed. The other set of data from the Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation at the University of Washington has been cited by the White House in the past, and researchers there have also now doubled their projections to 135,000 deaths by early August. Back in April, they predicted just over 60,000 by August. Big difference. With the U.S. now approaching 70,000 deaths, we've already blown past that estimate, and it's only May, if you can believe it. The Institute says the revised numbers are because people are moving around more and because social distancing guidelines are being relaxed. Last night, Dr. Anthony Fauci addressed these new projections.
When you have a lot of virus activity and you know that you're able to contain it to a certain degree by the mitigation, the physical separations, the kinds of things that we've been talking about, gateway, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and you start to leapfrog over some of these, you're inviting rebound. And rebound is going to give you spikes, and spikes are going to give you the kinds of numbers. I don't know if those numbers, because I have skepticism about models, about they're only as good as the assumptions you put into them, but they're not completely misleading. They're telling you something that's a reality, that when you have mitigation that's containing something, and unless it's down in the right direction and you pull back prematurely, you're going to get a rebound of cases.
Well, you know, so Dr. Fauci said you may want to look at these numbers. And Willie, of course, fascinating that the president accused numbers that came out of this draft from the Center for Disease Control, that he dismissed it as fake news. Once again, the president looking only at rosy scenarios. I don't know if you've heard this or not, but in February, on February the 22nd, when asked about this pandemic, he said he wasn't concerned about the coronavirus. He said it was one person coming in from China, and soon it would be down to zero. By the end of February, a month later, when panic really was setting in over parts of the world, and certainly health officials very concerned. And that, by the way, was a month after Joe Biden's warning at late January that this was going to get much worse. And that Donald Trump was leaving us unprepared for a pandemic. In late February, Donald Trump said it's 11 people going to be down to zero, 15 people down to zero. Kept saying during this time and in March that this was going to go away in April. Don't worry about it, he told Republican senators in March. It's just like the flu. The numbers are just like the flu, he said in March, and they didn't shut things down. So in April, he lied and he said that there's no way. This was not going to come back in the fall. Doctors, of course, very concerned. And now he's dismissing more estimates as, quote, fake news, when he has been peddling fake news, dangerous news from the beginning of January. Let's forget the CDC draft that talks about 200,000 people. Let's just look at this University of Washington study that predicted 60,000 deaths just 3 weeks ago. Now they've doubled that to 135, 136,000 deaths. And let's look at the president himself. I know that it drives him absolutely crazy that all of his lies and misrepresentations to the American people have made his numbers tank politically. But just look at the president. He's revised the death count, I think by my last count, he's revised the death count, I think 4 or 5 times recently. And as recently as a week or so ago, was saying it was going to be 50 or 60,000. We're now obviously, Willie, we are moving towards the 70, 80, 90, 100,000 mark.
Yeah, we'll probably be at 70,000 by the end of the day today, Joe. And as you said, if you actually believe a report from the CDC based on modeling from FEMA is fake news, okay, we'll put that to the side. But what about your own words? He sat at the foot of the Lincoln Memorial the other night and said, we are going to lose anywhere from 75, 80 to 100,000 people. That's a horrible thing. So he himself projected more than twice what he said 2 weeks ago, that there will be 100,000 deaths in this country from coronavirus. So this actually, as sophisticated as this virus is, it's actually not that complicated to understand how you slow it. As Dr. Fauci just tried to say in his diplomatic way, when you ease social distancing, when you have this mobility of people moving between states and spreading the germs, you're going to have more cases. And the movement has been to slowly reopen economies across the country. We understand why. We understand why everyone wants to get back to work. We understand why small businesses are hurting. But as Dr. Fauci himself just said, if you ease up on social distancing, you're going to have an explosion of cases. And that was the warning that we got yesterday from this, again, internal document put together by the CDC based on FEMA modeling, and then the public model as well, showing you're going to exceed 100,000 deaths from coronavirus.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.